Let me tell you something. Trading is tough. Very tough. Not everyone wins, okay? Futures trading involves substantial risk, tremendous risk, huge risk. And you can lose money, real money. Past performance doesn't mean anything about future results. Believe me, only trade what you could afford to lose. Do your own research. Get professional advice if you need it. This is for educational purposes only. We're just sharing ideas, not guarantees. Smart people manage risk. Great traders respect it. No members of DS Capital were harmed in the making of this video. Thank you very much.
What's going on, everyone? Lord Sean Connery here, along with Mohammed, up at Nostradamus. We're going to be covering oil. It's been a long time since we've done a video because of this fucking bullshit that's going on, over in Iran. Just people jerking each other's dicks off, whether we're going to get some peace or not, fucking around with the Strait of Hormuz. It's been such a crazy amount of movement and spastic stuff in the CL that we couldn't even do our weekly analysis, because all the work that we would do would just be thrown out the fucking window when some asshole makes a statement, and then it's just you just prep all this work. It's like you're a chef, you make a nice 13-course meal, and all of a sudden this says like, oh shit, I can't eat any of it, I'm vegan. Like, yeah, go fuck yourself, get the fuck out of here. So yeah, now oil is actually starting to calm its tits down. I mean, it's starting to trade a lot slower. It used to be on a dose of Ghost energy drinks, meth, cocaine, you name it, all the uppers. Now it's kind of calmed down. It's gotten over to the yoga studio. It's dealt with a little bit of anger management. So it's kind of nice that oil now is a decent read. Although now it's moving so slow that it kind of feels like watching paint dry. Nonetheless, we are seeing some behaviors that do merit weekly analysis. Actually, probably about 2 weeks ago, it started to kind of give those hints, like, "Hey, I'm ready." It's oil's greased up and ready to go to where we can actually make some really good analyses, get some really good weekly trades in, and get some really good R from it. So, anyways, so to talk about oil, it's been on a movement back down. Back into the high 60s. Although, if you go to the gas pumps, you still see that oil does, gas is still at a premium. Not sure why, but whatever. Um, but it's very interesting. Oil's just been on a down move, and then I guess Friday, or was it Thursday? Nah, yeah, it was Thursday. That Jim Cramer, the clown that comes on financial TV. I don't know if he's a clown because he's extremely smart, intelligent. Also, he's got the good connections with the banks. He mentioned something about, oh man, he's super bearish on oil at the lows, and he's super bullish on oil at the highs. So he's like the modern day Dennis Gartman. I remember Dennis Gartman when he would just say, oh, buy stocks, buy everything when everything's at an all time high and you just don't want to do it, or sell the world when the market is just undergoing a correction. Well, we've got Jim Cramer to do that. Friday was the very first up day in both, I think, the full session and the RTH. That was Thursday, and then Friday was the 3rd of July, which is the 4th of July holiday for trading, and it didn't really do much. But anyways, we have a very interesting balance zone. Um, we kind of had a multiple, like 4 or 5 day balance, and we broke from it, and then we just couldn't get down to this particular target from last week. It was around 65.80 all the way down to 65.30, and it just would not go. Just like oil couldn't get its dick hard enough to actually explore deep into that area. No, it just softened up and just said, fuck, I can't perform. It kind of sucks. And then that's when Thursday happened and said, hey, you know what? We can't get any further. Let's just go ahead and go the other way. So now what we're looking at is we could be retesting that big 5 day bounce. Is it 5 days? Four, 5? Let's say
Four.
four-ish,
Yeah.
five. Yeah, four. Okay, so One thing to note is on the large composite chart, there is a pretty big HVN around that $70 target. So that area is going to be where some action could find itself. Whether we're going to gravitate there, so we have to find out what is going to go on. So there's two kind of big scenarios. I don't really see oil like running all the way up to 75, although you never know what happens if some bullshit in the Middle East happens, or some ambassador or some, Jared Kushner fucking agrees to suck some guy's dick and nothing happens, and then all of a sudden there's war again. Um, I don't really know what the headlines will be. All I know is let's make the assumption that the headlines are now not going to be huge movers. Um, I'm mainly interested in what oil does. Uh, we're doing this video at the Sunday Open. So far, nothing is really going on, except we are holding a key area, and I think um, I'll kind of talk about one of the expectations I have. I still see oil going down. Well, the first thing is it going to go down first, or it's going to go on up and explore? So the bearish scenario is, we broke from that balance last week, and now we're coming in to retest it. So we could be coming on up. There is an LVN around this like 6880 area, and I think we may have already tested it. Let me check right now. It's really hard to tell. Like in the Asia session, we actually came right off of it. Um, Whether if we get above that 6880 LVN and we make an attempt up to the 70, and we have some sort of stall, we don't see aggressive buying. We see like buying on the offer just really dismal, and also selling on the way up, like large players unloading at very large delta. The primary scenario for me is, we somehow move in, we check that balance area, and then we head lower. We come back down through the 6880. We take out last week's low, which is let's see, let me use my eyes at
67.
6704.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we just, shit the bed. We finally test down to the 6530 area, 6580, 6530 area. And if we don't find any reaction there, let's get down all the way down to the 62s. Like, we could already take a look at exploring. Let me kind of zoom into my screen really quick. I gotta check the date on this one day. On the March 2nd, yeah, getting all the way down there. That's very possible. That's where the jigginess happened before everything just kind of jizzed to the upside. So that is the primary scenario. The secondary scenario that I have in mind is maybe we make an attempt to take out last week's low, and it gets thwarted. Now, how deep it goes is the real question. Mohammed, I know that you mentioned that you do not want to see a certain area rechecked. So you can give a little more insight on where exactly you want to see something hold for this to genuinely be like something that we could look at. But I'm going to be more general. As long as maybe we go and do a pullback as deep as the 6770s, that's Thursday's VPOC, and I don't want to see us churn around. I want to see us come in and instantly reject off that and say, "Ooh, shit! Prices are unfair here." That could merit us to start moving to the upside, tag and check the $70 even area, and churn around, and see some two-way trading. And if we don't immediately come off of it, and if we start to churn and start to press higher, we're probably looking at testing around the 7120s. That was the LVN, a pretty decent LVN from that multiple day balance. And either we come back off it, come back in the 70, and start to see like a slowing of oil, not seeing like $10 moves every freaking week. Or if we we could just come in and rest at 70. We could come in to check that 7120 area, pull back to the 70 area, or not even, more of like flag around that LVN around 7124, 7120, and start to move up to the upside and actually get into another larger distribution that's all the way from like the 7120s, maybe like the 7250s. There's like a very minor distribution there, but probably passing 7250s, we start to get into this meteor one from the 7250s all the way up to 77-ish. I don't think that's going to be the case, but if we had some sort of driver that drove oil to the upside, let's just say um, I don't know if the Department of Energy is actually in charge of this, but some asshole in the U.S. government says, or Trump says, "Hey, let's go ahead and refill the SPR because we've been, dumping, jizz buckets of oil into the out of the SPR, and they need to refill it." That would probably drive oil back up to, in the 75s, probably the mid 75 50s or something like that. So uh, those are the hypotheses. I don't know which one will happen. It's just that, hey, we're going to be prepared if one of these starts showing its hands. We're going to take a position. We want to get a good chunk of a move before oil eventually starts to fall asleep, and then we just focus our intraday shit on ES because that's a much more fun, a much more active product to trade intraday. Oil has lost its glitter in gold. So yeah, Mohammed, go ahead and talk about the area that you really want to see hold for that secondary hypothesis, or if you want to go on to what I covered, maybe add some stuff. Please, yeah,
Yeah, so
let's hear it.
I'll talk about the long first. So the long trade, I do, I was telling Rob earlier that I kind of like this response that was from the prior weekly low, which was at, let's see what that's at.
That's a
67
6704.
03s, yeah, 04s, all the way
Oh,
up to 69.25. So this reaction, I do like it. And if there is a long, I was saying that I really don't want to see it below the 68.08. Now, that 68.08 is from Friday's session. So, you know, some traders may be looking at it, some traders are maybe not looking at it. For me, I still think it is important. So, the best case scenario for the long is that it just moves in, it holds a higher low against this area, and not to mention that this region, in this within this area, we do have a weekly reference point, so that's also a
mhm.
bonus. If it does hold higher low against this area, I would be looking for a long that would start moving higher, and I'm pretty much looking at the same targets as Rob. The main target being a move back to the 70s. One set like this is a double distribution. VPOC is in the upper distribution, and also we have an overlapping VPOC with the profile from 2 weeks ago. So that's what I'm looking for the long scenario. If it does check lower, I don't mind it checking the VPOC from below. Like those tend to be tested if, when we leave those areas, those two, like they tend to get tested. And if it can give a good response, I do see it also playing out that long. But for me, uh, the most, I guess you can say, ideal long would just be holding that, like a little shallow pullback, and then we get that move higher. For the short scenario, I agree with you as well. I think that, let's just clean up this chart. I do think this low volume area, which I think this is the one you were referring to as well. It's in line with the balance breakout. It was tested on Friday as well, but if it does, I was saying that, if we do see a move higher within the overnight session and it moves higher, holds it, and then backs off, there may be some sort of short, which, it could just be a lower high retest, and then we play for that continuation to the downside. That's my sort of scenarios overall. Like, yes, context is pointing down with everything that's going on. I mean, if we just take a look at this chart, I mean, this is just
Yeah,
time framing down. There was this consolidation over here, which this was with the whole news thing. You can see when it started, which was back in what is that, March, and then from
yeah, it's
there
beginning of
just
March.
been
Yeah,
kind of multiple weeks of balance, sideways action, and a lot of volatility. And here's the daily chart, which is this sort of balance, 4-day balance, break, and now it's rechecking. So the short is like a simple, break from balance, retest balance, and a continuation lower. So that's like the nice thing about the short. The long, I do think the long is a bit more. I think you would call it an innovation trade, where it's like
Yeah.
the turn isn't really in. We're sort of like looking for characteristics of a turn just to see if we can get it, because if you can catch a move from 68 to 70, that's a pretty decent, that's a $2 move. Uh, Even though we used to see that in like 2 minutes before, that
I
would
know.
still
Yeah.
be a pretty decent move to catch like a weekly trade on. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I have to cover for CL. Is there anything else you want to add, or?
Um, I mean, not really. It all really depends. Um, like again, right now, as we're watching the open, we have some defects above us. We're literally coming off that LVN that you mentioned. And I hate when that happens because it's almost like, oh shit, this is already happening. What do you do? So, before we would used to stalk the Sunday Open and literally see an opportunity right there. Right now, I do not want to do that. I'd rather see Sunday show something like Sunday night and the Monday morning, and then take a trade. I'm very sure that there's going to be some sort of opportunity. Or at least some sort of response that tells me, okay, I think that this scenario is more likely, that this scenario is more likely going to happen than the other, versus staying up all night and trying to work, a very super tight risk trade just to catch a turn. I do. Yeah, right now, oil feels like it needs to figure its shit out in the overnight before we can even take an act. So that's why we're doing the video at the open, or literally after the open, and kind of see what is going on, and to kind of talk about, oh well, this is what's going on. I would like to see, again, like even if we on the short scenario, even if we don't even get up to the 70, if we do this lower high retest, or not necessarily lower high, but just to go in and fill some of these defects, because there are some prints that have no bid traded, and then there are empty prints, nothing traded at all, 68.70, 68.75, 76, and 77. If we go and clean those up, and then we get another attempt to, into that LVN that you talked about, and then we come and pull back, and we kind of pull back into 67, 60 to 70. That's the HVN. That's the VPOC from Thursday, and we can't muster up shit. That already might be signs that this thing's headed to the lows, and that could be more of like a nice breakdown trade, taking out last week's low, and just kind of watching the narration, although it might be slower. And that's the only thing that sucks, is because when the tape is going a little slower, it sometimes it's easy to read, and at the same time it almost kind of just feels just like there's not enough information flow happening at the time to where you could get a good feel for it. But anyways, I'm sure that there will be something that'll be coming on up. The innovative trade is literally right here. Like in my opinion, it's actually holding around here and then making a shot higher. So on the basis that, maybe we do form some overall higher low. Maybe we hold Wednesday's low around the 67.90s. Yeah, I'll kind of take a look at the monitors and see what happens in the overnight. Especially during the Asia Open. The Asia Open is not as thrilling as the European Open. The European Open, those guys are, that action's a little fucking spooky.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever trade it. So, um, and then, well, just in case, we always have our little disclaimer: derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss. We put the guy in the fucking Down syndrome dude in the business suit walking with his cane. But just in case we forget, which Mohammed said we're not going to forget, but I just wanted to say retard because it's fun. Yes, don't. Be very careful trading derivatives. You could lose your ass if you get $500 margins and go ape shit, and then lose all your money and then some. We're not responsible. Don't be a fucking dumb shit. If you're into that risky play, try the funded accounts over at like Apex or some shit like that. At least you're losing like some fee versus getting taken to the cleaners.
Yeah.
But the usual stuff, the usual. If there are futures traders watching this, you guys know the deal. But then again, you never fucking know. Might be some asshole gambler out there, some guy that says, "Oh, I was told that I could just buy Bitcoin and just said it's just gonna go up to 500 grand," or that guy said he's gonna eat his own dick. Well, that guy's dead, so he can't really eat his own dick. So, all right, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes, and then hopefully we could get a good weekly trade on CL, and maybe through the week we could talk about ES. I don't know. It's not really in my wheelhouse. It's just something that moves to trade for me. And I don't know if we want to necessarily cover it, but if there is interest in covering it, why don't you drop a comment in the video? And don't forget to like and subscribe and write a cheeky comment. And if you don't find this video helpful and you don't like it, put a fucking comment. And then also, suck your own dick, whatever you want to do. Yeah. If you do like the video, throw a comment.
Throw a comment.
Like and subscribe. And don't suck your own dick.
Share it. Share it with a trader. Let us.
Yeah. Share it with your buddies. See what goes on. All right. Anyways, I think that's enough for the evening. That's all I got to say. So.
Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, this is like the first video back in some time. Hopefully we didn't go too long. I don't think we did, but
no, we didn't.
We should be good. All right, we're gonna see you guys. Well, we'll see the people in Discord tomorrow in the morning, and then for those on YouTube, we'll see you guys next Sunday with another video. All right, take care.
All right, later, guys.